If you already run Meta and Google successfully, then native ads might be the next logical step for more profitability and more scale for your brand. In this video, we will take a look about why native ads can help you here and when native ads doesn't make sense for your brand. Hi everyone, my name is Marcel Sattler. I'm the founder of nativeadvertising.net. We're an agency, but also a learning platform for nothing but native. So we run native for more than a decade, and I can tell you exactly what's working when it comes to native and what's not going to work. But yeah, let's speak about your brand and native. You know, usually my recommendation is when you start a brand, a normal D2C brand or whatever, to not start with native, to be honest, because native is the most expensive channel and it's not a channel where you can or where you should test a bit around and play a bit around with prices or offers, whatever. For that, native is definitely not the right setup here. Other platforms like Meta or Google make way more sense here in the beginning. However, there is usually, when you scale up and you scale profitable, there is a point where you reach like a top when it comes to your Meta and your Google ad spends. You know, of course you can scale a bit more crazy, but then usually profitability goes down. And then if that's the case, then it's the right moment for native ads to not just scale, but also gain more profitability. There are a bunch of reasons why that makes sense. I will just cover in this video a few of them, and then we will go to a part of the video where we'll speak when native ads doesn't make sense for your brand. So why it makes sense to add another platform like, for example, Taboola, Outbrain, MJD, Ref Content, whatever, to your marketing mix. First of all, it's a different platform that brings a lot of work. I agree here, especially when it comes to native. Native is pretty complex, so it's a lot of work and it's also a lot of cost, to be honest, in the beginning. But the huge benefit here is that you can reach out to a totally new audience. There are, of course, overlaps between native like Taboola and Outbrain and other platforms like Meta and Google. However, these overlaps, they are nothing crazy, nothing to worry about. So they're almost non-existing, and that's the very good news. And the other positive thing is with native, you're not dedicated to a platform like you're stick with Meta or Google. Imagine you run 80% or 90% of your ad spend on Meta and Meta is banning your ad account. It's not that this never happened in the past, you know, this happens almost every day to a brand out there. And if it's going wrong and your ad account is not open within the next couple of days and you have a few things to pay like taxes, doc, whatever, then it can be very fast over with your business, to be honest. And therefore, it makes sense to scale your business to another platform, to an independent platform. When it comes to native, you have different platforms like Taboola and Outbrain. These are the two major platforms out there, the two large platforms, but there are hundreds of other small and bigger networks when it comes to native ads through who you can scale. Another good reason why it makes sense to scale on native, it's because it's very cold audience traffic. So you're not in the middle of the funnel. So native ads is very high or very high top of the funnel. So let's check out a normal marketing funnel for your brand. Let's say you have a D2C brand and that's a normal funnel. Sorry for my bad drawing. I'm a marketer, not a painter. And here on top you have native. And the main goal here is that you not just bring in people through native, but you also put them through the whole funnel until the checkout. That's the main goal. And you do this because of the traffic here. Let's say you have Taboola traffic. And then you have here the advertorial. What's the funnel? I will explain a bit later what's the funnel. Then you have here the offer page. And then here you have the checkout. So that's the idea here when it comes to native. So, you know, all the platforms are a bit differently. Google is pretty technically, Meta is a lot with creatives here in the background, and native is again something totally differently. So the thing is with Meta, you can basically give Meta a good creative and Meta will find the right people for you. You can just bring them to your shop page. That's working, that's still working, and it's more creative game. With native, that's not possible. So it's not going to work if you do the same strategy here. And the reason here is because there is no real interest-based targeting. So you're going very broad and then you try to narrow down the funnel somehow, but there is no interest-based targeting. And that makes sense because, again, native is an open system and there is no user account like you used with it when it comes to Meta, for example. So therefore the funnel looks a bit differently when it comes to native ads. Like on the very top of the funnel, you have of your own funnel, you have the approaches or the marketing angles. And here you have usually 2, 3, 4 different angles, angle 1, angle 2, and so on and so far. I will just, to make it a bit easier to explain, 3 marketing angles. And let's say you're selling, I don't know, some collagen for the skin or so, then this might be for woman 40 plus, here for sporty people, and here for seniors. And these are the 3 different marketing angles you're going to test when it comes to native. The next step here is below every marketing angle, you do have different advertorials. So what's an advertorial? An advertorial is basically a landing page which looks like a newspaper article. So you have here an image, you have here a headline, and then you have here some copy about not specifically about a product, but about a problem. So the thing is, what's very different with native, you have all these marketing angles, and basically with native, you just tell the people, that's my product and these are the benefits of my product. With native, you start one step ahead, one step before. So you start with the problem or with a very clickbaity headline, because that's how you catch or how you gain the attention, how you catch the people's attention, and then bring them to your advertorial. So you try in your marketing funnel here, you have the ad with a pretty clickbaity headline. I will explain you a bit later why that makes sense. And then you bring the people to the advertorial. And here in the advertorial, you educate the people. The main goal of the advertorial is that people know at the end of the advertorial, no, I don't really need the product here, or hell yes, I want to have it and I want to have it now. Because then the person clicks on the link here and then they're coming straight to your offer page, to your Shopify store, whatever, and there they can buy and purchase your product. So that's the main idea of the funnel. And here on top, you have the different angles. So you usually have 3 or 4 angles in parallel, test them around. You have 3 to 4 advertorials. Sorry, that was wrong. You have here 9 ads usually per campaign, 3 to 4 advertorials, and 1 or 2 offer pages, which you're testing around. So that's the main idea of a funnel. And I mentioned before, it makes sense to be here a bit more clickbaity when it comes to the ad. And the reason here is pretty simple, because when you start with native, the main idea, the first goal is to get a cheap CPM. Anyway, the CPMs are cheaper on native if you compare it with other platforms. But in the beginning, you just want to have reach and you want to have cheap reach to see what's the best fit for your product here. So therefore, it makes sense to try a bit a more clickbaity headline. Pay attention here, it should not be too clickbaity. You have to find the sweet spot here between clickbait and, not too clickbaity, but clickbaity and not too boring. That's very important here, and that's very, very difficult. So if you have no experience here, you will automatically fail because you don't know exactly where you can go and in which direction you should go. So that's the very hard part here. But the good news is, as soon as you find the sweet spot here, you will have enough people to click on the ad, you will have the right people click on the ad, and then you can convert them through the advertorial. So the good news of the advertorial is, and that's pretty awesome, people are, when they read the newspaper article and they scroll down at the bottom of the page because they finished reading the article, then they see, okay, this might be interesting for you. And they see, okay, there is something against knee pain. So doctors just revealed a new secret against knee pain, for example, and then they click on it. So with this, usually the ad is the combination. When this is like the grid you have at the bottom of a page, then you have here something like a grid between 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like a 3-3 grid or 3-2 grid, like here, and here you have usually the headline. And people basically, as mentioned, there is no interest-based targeting, but people tell you more or less that they're interested when they click in. So nobody without knee pain will click on a knee pain ad. So let's say that's the knee pain ad, they click in it, and then they read the advertorial. And that makes totally sense because people are in reading mode and they still have time. When they scroll through different articles, they want to continue reading. And then they just see something which catches their attention and then they read the advertorial. And the advertorial is, of course, copywriting, and the advertorial is super, super crucial for your ad. And please don't make the mistake and just try one advertorial. It's not going to work. You need to try different advertorials. You need to try a lot of advertorials to find out what's working for your brand and what's working for your audience. I mean, we do have a lot of experience. However, we still have to try and test a lot of advertorials because it depends on your brand and many, many other circumstances here. So very important here, try different advertorials. But let's come back to the benefits of the advertorial here. The benefit of the advertorial is that people read it. They spend 6, 7, 8 minutes of their valuable time to read basically sales copy. So the advertorial is your number one salesman out there working 24/7. And what we do usually is we run third-party domain advertorials. I will give you an idea what that is. So let's say your store is abc.com. Then you have here, let's say, Outbrain. And then people are not clicking straight to your store. That's not the best idea, but they click to an advertorial, which is like the best, I don't know, health magazine, health journal, whatever. And from there, they're clicking, or from there, they will be redirected to your Shopify store or whatever. And the reason here is simple. I know technically you would be able to host everything on your store, but it's not so cool if you self-tell people out there that your brand is awesome or your product works great, you know? It makes more sense if somebody else, like more or less neutral source is telling, hey, this product here is pretty cool and that can help you to solve problem A, B, C. So therefore it makes sense to run it off page and not on page, the advertorial. Hey, stop. I need your help, please. We will continue in a second with the content here, but please give me a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done it yet, because that helps me to grow my channel here on YouTube and create more valuable content for you totally for free here on YouTube about nothing but native. Thank you very much. So that was already a lot of information, and this was just the tip of the iceberg here when it comes to native. Long story short, native makes sense if you are already profitable and run successfully your Meta and Google ad campaigns. Then native might be a good next step. But before I end this video here, I want to tell you why native does not make sense, because native is not for every brand. That's very important to understand. So if you're a B2B brand, native is not a good fit for you. If you have a very, very small and targeted and niche audience, then native is not a good fit for you. Keep in mind, there is no interest-based targeting. So you shoot very broad. That means your product or service must be a good fit for the majority of people out there, or at least for plenty of people out there. Native also doesn't make sense if you have a very cheap or low price product, like around $15 or $20 or so. Then native does not make sense because all the other costs around are too expensive. The sweet spot of average order value is, what we found out so far, is between 80 and $120. That's the sweet spot of the AOV when it comes to native ads, because the audience usually can pay, the audience want to pay, and with this you have enough of margin to scale your native ads also up. And last but not least, native ads makes no sense for you if your audience is pretty young. So the majority of people who convert through native ads are best ages. So they are around 40 to 60 years, something like that, you know. So therefore, native makes sense if your audience is more mature. You might ask yourself now, why should I start with native? So the reason is pretty simple. You can scale with native like crazy. We do have campaigns where we spend 30, 40,000 USD per day, profitable with just one product. The next step is profitability. With native, you can scale profitable and gain a lot of money because the CPMs, they're usually cheaper than on other platforms. And the third good reason why you should consider native is that you have a different audience. So the audience on native is a bit more older. It's like the best age is something between 40 to 65. And those people, they usually have more money than someone with 18 or 20, like a student or so. So they can invest more money, and they also do invest more money in things like their health, their mental health, their physical health, and all these other things. If you think now about to start with native, then let me tell you something. Now in Q4 is the best moment to start with native. Why? Because there is such a huge momentum out there So almost everything which you start now has like a plus 20, plus 30% positive push. And if you consider to start with native, then check out our free consultation. Maybe we can help you. Just go on nativeadvertising.net and check out the free consultation. Again, it's free. We'll explain you a bit if native makes sense for your brand or not and how the process could work for you.